Hello, Classic Cinema with the Sage Sisters. Celeste and I are so excited that you're here today. It's episode 26, and we're talking about the movie Gentleman's Agreement from 1947. And it's one of my favorite Gregory Peck movies, although I have a lot because Gregory Peck happens to be one of my favorite guys, actors.
I don't know why he wouldn't be for everybody, but
I know. So this is continuing our series of movies about race relations, and this one happens to be about anti-Semitism. And
yep.
I'm going to read the description. A reporter pretends to be Jewish in order to cover a story on anti-Semitism and personally discovers the true depths of bigotry and hatred. Now, even though this was 1947, the House Un-American Activities rumblings were happening. And so, unfortunately, there were some people in this movie that got blacklisted later.
Yes.
I think Sam Jaffe was one of them, but
Sam Jaffe was one of them. Yep.
John Garfield, who's the only Jewish guy actor in the whole movie.
Only, yeah.
But also Anne Revere, who plays Gregory Peck's mom. She got blacklisted, and I love her.
Oh, she's a phenomenal actress.
I
Oh my
love
God,
her.
phenomenal.
But so there was a lot of controversy about Elia Kazan, who happens to be the director. Oh, I should read the cast. Because in the 50s, I think it was 52, he named names. And in 1999, when the Academy gave him the Lifetime Achievement Award, that was not a popular decision. Actors were not happy.
Didn't even clap. They didn't. It was a very, very extremely lukewarm.
Yeah, they didn't want him to get that because he named names. Now he was called before the committee twice. First time he didn't name names. Second time he did. And he talked
we don't
about
understand what the pressure was back then. We have no idea what that's about.
Well, and I watched the special features of the movie, and he addressed that. He said, I had to make a decision, and I really thought about it, and it was almost like a decision between two not great, outcomes.
Right.
And so he said, I probably would think about it even now and make the same decision. So anyway, okay, so that's kind of what's going on in the movie, not in the movie, but in the filming of the movie. So here are the actors. Gregory Peck plays Phil Green. Dorothy McGuire plays Kathy Lacey, who happens to fall in love. They happen to fall in love. It was her idea for the article. John Garfield plays Dave Goldman, who happens to be a childhood friend of Gregory Peck's, and they were
childhood friends. The movie takes place in New York. They
right.
were childhood friends in California.
In California, right?
Yeah.
And Celeste Holm plays Anne Detry. She's like the fashion editor of the magazine that Gregory Peck goes to work for. And then Anne Revere plays his mom, and
also
who plays his son?
Young boy, Dean Stockwell.
Yeah, Dean Stockwell. I think he was 10 when he made the movie.
He was always a great actor, a child actor, adult actor.
Yeah, really great.
He's so great in this movie.
So we were talking before we started filming about the tensions because Daryl F. Zanuck really wanted to make this movie. No studio wanted him to make it because they were almost all run by Jewish CEOs, studio heads. And but when he finally got the rights to the book, and he really credits her. In fact, when he won the Oscar, he credited her, the author of the book. But this is the funny thing. He really wanted Gregory Peck. Elia Kazan did not want Gregory Peck. So it said in the trivia that a lot of people said they didn't really like working with Gregory Peck, but I I have been a director, and the director sets the tone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if Elia Kazan didn't like Gregory Peck, that makes tension between him and Gregory Peck, but also all the other actors.
Well, and the further trivia I read as well was not all the time, but at times the set was a little tense. And it
Yes.
wasn't, I didn't read that they didn't like Gregory Peck. I read that they felt their tension with each other. And it
Ah,
was hard to do some of the work when there's all
yeah,
this tension going on.
right.
And I mean, I've never been in a play, but being a singer and having to perform and, being in choirs and solos,
Yeah.
I can tell you if the environment is not set in a positive tone, you're all right, Lucinda. Everything can be affected by that. And what's
Yes.
so amazing is they get these Academy Award nominations, and well-deserved Celeste Holm
Yes.
wins it for supporting actress
First
because
movie.
first movie, Academy Award, she deserves it. I always, on a side note about Celeste Holmes, I always felt like she should have been a leading lady.
Oh yeah.
I always found her extremely stunning, and I never
Yeah.
could figure out why they always put her in the wisecracking sidekick, so to speak, the
Yeah.
kind of secondary player.
Yeah.
She had an amazing smile.
Yeah.
Her presence was very commanding,
Well, and there
and I don't know why they never put her in. I
I
always
know
I always thought
because
that was kind of like, what are they thinking?
yeah, because
What were they thinking?
there is that scene last night I said this to Barry. We were watching it and there's that scene where she calls uh Kathy on the carpet in front. Kathy's not there, but she's
Oh,
talking to
at the
Gregory
end. Yes,
Peck,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
about Kathy and that she's a hypocrite,
She is a
which
hypocrite.
we'll talk about more later. But and then they have this shot of her
Oh,
and
I
she's
know. She's
so
stunning.
gorgeous.
She's
And
so stunning.
Gregory Peck says, "Are you proposing to me?" And she says, "Maybe."
Yeah.
And in a way, I kind of wish he'd won.
Oh, I wish he had went with her too. And we'll explain why. Because what really happens is he moves from California, his son and his mother. He is Gregory Peck's character,
Is a
um,
widow,
is a he yeah,
a
his name is
widower,
Philip, and he's a widower. His wife has been dead for 7 years.
right?
And his father has passed, and so the mother moves in with him and helps him raise his boy,
His son, yeah.
his son, who is absolutely wonderful. And oh, I didn't write down his name, I don't think.
Oh,
Uh,
the character name, you mean?
Dean Stockwell's son's name, the boy's name. Yeah. Anyway, um, and it's a big move for them because they make it pretty
Yes.
clear right away that his mother's health is a little shaky
Yeah.
and she gets tired easily and these kind of things, right?
Yeah.
So, but they seem to be, I mean, the owner of the newspaper, he already works for him.
It's a magazine.
It's a magazine that, thank you, in California, but he
Yeah.
brings him to the East Coast so he can work personally with him because he
Yeah.
likes his writing so much.
Yeah.
And so he gets this apartment for them that's quite nice.
Oh, it's
I mean, he
gorgeous.
obviously has money.
It's
This
huge.
magazine. It's huge. It's
Yeah.
absolutely huge. And so, that's a big important story that there are these um, West Coasters moving out east to a
Right.
completely they've never been there,
Right.
it's unfamiliar. They're not, he's even unfamiliar with what the schools will present for his son.
Right.
And, he's very watchful. He's a
Right.
very attentive father and son.
Right.
Not overprotective, but very attentive. And I think that's important to point that out because he has a great deal of passion for life. Even
Right.
though he's had this sadness where he loses his wife and loses his father
Yeah.
but his drive to be a good example to his son is so important to him.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I think is so important too, and in the conversations they show it right away where he and his son are walking around downtown New York,
New
and
York.
his son's asking him all these questions, and he answers them clearly,
Yes.
precisely, does not talk
Yeah.
down to him like he's a child.
Right.
And
Yeah.
this is pretty monumental for 1947.
Yeah, and the other thing is one of the things he asks him was, "Now, how old was I when Mom died?" And
Right, right.
I don't really. And he says, "Do you remember her?" He goes, "Well, yeah,
Yeah,
a
right,
little bit." And but they're
right.
actually, frankly, they're talking instead of trying to
Very
cover it
open.
all up. They're
Right.
talking about it. They're talking
Yeah.
about her death and
And he even expresses sadness for the loss of his wife to his son.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
okay to be sad about that, and it's okay that you can't always remember her. You were so young, you know?
right,
It's just an open, and I think it's a
right.
great opening scene for the film.
It is. And the other thing that's great about it is in that conversation is the boy says, "Do you think you'll ever marry again?" He goes, "Well,
Yeah.
I'm open to
Yeah.
it,
I'd
but
like to. I'd like to have a companion. I would like to have,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, a life partner. And I just think it's
yeah,
really great how he doesn't go, "Oh no, I would never do that. You can't have another mother." I mean,
right,
he's allowing his son to welcome that as well.
right. To think
And
about it, to
and to
think
even
about it.
think about the
Yeah,
possibilities of it. Not even thinking that within the next few scenes he would meet the woman that he falls in love with.
right,
Because it's a great intro. They show them getting ready in the morning, and he's going to start his first day at the magazine. His son's getting ready to go to school, and the grandmother has made them breakfast, and he's a really curious kid. And
right,
he they both, the grandmother and Gregory Peck, Philip, answer everything he asks. So
right.
you obviously, in that next scene of getting ready to go, you see how he was raised as well.
Yeah, yeah, right.
That his
Yeah,
parents
we're open.
were
They were
open.
open.
And as
Yeah,
they mentioned several times in the film, liberal.
right.
That word liberal comes up quite a bit in the film.
Yeah, right.
And
Yeah,
I think those are, once again, very well thought out opening scenes of introducing these three characters.
right. Yeah. Now, that first night, I forgot to write down the editors. The actor plays the editor, or he maybe owns the magazine. Look him up. He asks him to come over to their
Albert Decker.
Albert Decker.
He's
Yeah,
a really good character actor.
he is, and he says, "Okay, I want you to come over to my house tonight. I want you to meet some people." And he also has him come to lunch to meet some of the people from
He
the
does. He does.
magazine.
He wants people to meet him from the magazine. And
Right.
but first of all, they have that private meeting.
Right. Yeah.
And you don't know what it is. He goes, "I've got an idea. I want to, run by you that I'd really like you to do." And then he closes the office door.
Right.
And then you go into the meeting with everyone around the table from the magazine, and they all know, introduce each other.
Uh-huh.
Um, and of course, Celeste Holm always has these little, she's always got these little things that she says. She's so delightful. And I think what's really important too is that not only is she the fashion columnist, but she does not show any intimidation being in a room full of men.
Right. She's the only woman.
She's the only woman.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, I really feel like she's the most confident.
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
not false bravado.
No.
She
Uh-uh.
knows who she is. She is
Right.
definitely confident in who she is as a woman, as as a woman who's working in 1947 for a big magazine.
Right.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
It's like the most popular magazine across the country,
Right. Yeah.
and she's very confident in that. And so immediately he introduces himself, and then they tell what his story is going to be. And he goes, "And by the way, Philip says, I'm Jewish."
Oh no, not yet. I don't. Does he say it
Oh, he
then?
says
Because
it right away when they're all introducing each other.
I
Yep.
can see he doesn't come up with that. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. there's part he's working on the article
Right.
at home before he meets all
Oh,
these
he
people.
agonizes too. By the
Yeah,
way, he really agonizes. He's
yeah,
trying to, and you can see his torture of trying to
right.
figure out how to present this. Because,
In
by
a
the
new
way,
way.
in a
Yeah,
new way, articles have been like this off and on throughout the time. And people
probably
are like,
throughout the
and that's
war.
why, that's why they're like, aren't people bored with this storyline?
Right. Yeah,
Even the magazine people are like, okay, I mean, if you want to keep driving this home, I don't know what the big deal is.
yeah,
But the magazine owner is, I really feel like he's very in tune to
right,
what he's not separate from what's happening outside of his magazine.
right.
He obviously has a feel for everything. He's very, very emotionally intelligent
Yeah, what's going on in the country?
because
That
he needs it, right?
he
He
pays
understands.
attention. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
he does. And I
Yeah.
really, really think he's a great character that helps build this story because not only is he in tune with what's going on in society, he's in tune with what's going on in the country.
Yeah, now there is one little thing though where he finds out he
Oh,
hasn't been in tune. And
yeah,
it's when Gregory Peck finally start comes to the office to start to work.
right. And everyone
He's
thinks he's Jewish at this point.
right because he came up with the idea thanks to his mother, I think,
Well,
conversations with
she
his
helped him
mother.
process it. She
Yeah,
helped him
because
process it.
he needed
Yeah.
something new.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't want to
Right.
write the same old, same old. So
Right.
I do want to say this before I go on. When I was in high school, there was a book called Black Like Me, and it was a person who had
Oh,
his skin dyed so he looked black. And then he wrote a book about his experiences. So it's this basically, this is the story. It
mm,
happened before Black Like Me, but he's not Jewish, but he claims to be, and only the editor of the paper,
right.
Dorothy McGuire, Kathy, his girlfriend, and know about it. So only
Right.
the editor and his wife and Kathy know that he's not
Right.
Jewish.
Right.
Except that Kathy keeps pushing the book goalposts.
Well, she's really
Which
interesting. I think it's great storytelling
yeah,
because they immediately are attracted to each other
right,
and they think they're on the same page, right? They're like,
right,
"Oh, we have all the same values. You
right,
had this idea, you've got to be super liberal, blah
right,
blah blah." She's very wealthy. She is a divorcee. That's
right.
another important point.
Yeah,
So she's been divorced, but no one thinks anything of it in 1947. But anyway, she
they should.
obviously comes, I know. But I think it's because of their circle.
Oh, right.
You
Yeah,
know, the circle of friends and family that they hang out with are like, oh, whatever, because
yeah,
they're all obviously wealthy.
right,
And they talk about her sister and husband living in Connecticut, and she has a family home in Connecticut, and blah blah blah. All these things. You get that she's very upper crust,
right.
but she's liberal, which,
Yeah,
in Gregory Peck's mind, being raised in California, he's like, "Oh, we're a great blend." Right?
right, right.
But you're right. She keeps her characters, and she's well acted. I mean, Dorothy McGuire, I find that I think she took a great deal of risk at playing this part because
Mm-hmm.
she's
Mm-hmm.
very flawed.
Right.
And that's not easy to play someone who you can like at the same time who's flawed.
Yeah, right,
There's a very fine balance in that.
right.
And
Because she makes several missteps.
oh, she makes a lot of hypocritical mistakes. You are absolutely right.
Yeah,
And Celeste Holmes sees that right away. And
yeah,
also, another thing that's important is you get right away that Celeste Holmes is immediately attracted to him.
right.
Because, hey, let's go to lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and they're sitting at this, busy restaurant, and another guy that is a writer for the magazine comes in and says these really rude remarks about
Yeah. My,
underhanded. It's like a normal remark everybody would make. And so she calls Celeste home. I love her because her character, she calls the guy out on it right away. And he's like,
right.
well, I was just saying. And she goes, just saying what?
You have friends who are Methodist, but you don't
And he
point
goes, well,
that
I have
out.
friends that are Jewish. And she goes, well, do you have Methodist friends? Do you
Do you
call
have to
that? Do you
point
say
that
that? Do you have, I mean, she's so great how she goes down this list of, do you think you need to say that? And the guy's like, well, I was just trying to be friendly. And she goes, oh, were you?
and then he goes.
And then he leaves.
Right.
And she just looks at, she looks at Philip like, oh, brother, these people, you can tell she
Yeah.
has zero tolerance for that.
Right.
And so,
Exactly.
again, you think, okay, he's met Dorothy McGuire, he's got what you think are these like-minded people all around him.
Right.
But and it's a really great conversation because it is so obvious this woman is not a hypocrite.
No,
She
not at
has
all.
no qualms about her. But once again, this movie's about contrast.
Yeah, and also the storytelling because Gregory
Yes,
Peck's character
yes,
learns a lot about
a
what it's like to
lot.
be Jewish,
Right, right,
uh, because he's declared that he's Jewish, and there are
right,
lots of incidences where he comes
right.
up, bangs up against it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
even Dean Stockwell's character bangs up against it.
Oh, his son, because his son comes home from school one day and goes, "Are we Jewish?
Yeah,
People are saying you're Jewish." And he
yeah,
goes, "Well, this is what's happening." And he's like, "Okay, I can play along with that. Okay, Dad, I'll do that." Because
yeah,
he's just this really great little kid. And another thing I think is really great too, along with this, is that his mother doesn't go, "Oh, we should protect him. He could tell the
right,
kid he's not Jewish." She
right.
does none of that. None of
No,
those things take place in the conversation with the three of them.
yeah,
She is along the whole storyline. She
yep,
supports him, supports him, supports him because she understands the importance of the whole narrative.
of what he's gonna do.
She
Yeah,
knows what he has to do.
yeah,
He
and
knows
then
he has
there's
to
that.
take the deep dive.
Right. And then there's that second time when he goes out to play with some kids and they won't let him play because he's a dirty Jew.
Well, and
And
this
he
is the thing that's
and
so
that's
interesting.
when another
He was,
time then
well, yeah,
Dorothy McGuire's
yeah.
character, yeah,
Well, and they kind of have it like they get engaged, and it's like, okay, we're gonna have an engagement party out in Connecticut at my sister's, and she goes, but is it okay if we tell my sister and her husband that you're not Jewish? And he goes, why?
yeah,
And she's like, well, it's important. Not everybody needs to, why do we always have to pretend this? And
right.
he's like, because this is the experience I need to have.
Right.
And
Yeah.
he goes, I can't get the full experience if if there are, because he told her from the beginning, it has to be everyone believes I'm Jewish.
Yeah.
Everyone has to believe this. And
Right.
she can't seem to get past that threshold of that.
Right.
And she's like, well, I already told her anyway. And
She
he's
broke her
like,
word. She broke
but
her
you
word.
you broke your word with me. I mean,
Yeah.
she doesn't get it, right? But
Yeah.
she doesn't see this building of exposing of her hypocrisy.
Right.
Because she thinks she's all great because she came up with, hey, you should write a story about to her uncle. You should write this story because there's something to this, not realizing how it's going to impact her.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like she's not racist, but she's not
No,
an anti-racist either.
no, right. Well, and what it is, it's that what is the word? Indifference. There's a level of indifference in her
Yes.
and the people that her circle. There's a
Yeah.
level of indifference that she later on, as they begin to
When
have these conversations, and it's after the boy coming home in tears.
right.
The children have rejected him. And she grabs him. No, no, don't be afraid. You're Christian. You're not Jewish. It's okay. And of course, Philip is like, Catherine. And
Yeah.
she just like, oh no, what did I, and she runs into the other room. But this is such an important scene. The way he allows his son to cry,
Right.
he takes him into the bathroom, he gets him a glass of water, and they have this
Great conversation.
great short conversation.
Those that are common. One was a kid from school. They were playing hop, and I asked, could I play too? And the school said no dirty little Jew could play with them. And they all yelled those other things and turned and ran. Why did they, Pop? Why?
Do you want to tell them that you weren't really Jewish?
No.
That's good. See, there's a lot of kids just like you, Tommy, who are Jewish, and if you said it, it would be sort of admitting that there was something bad in being Jewish and something swell in that.
They wouldn't fight. They just ran.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of grown-ups just like that, too, Tom. Only they do it with wisecracks instead of yelling.
And he asks him, do you want to tell them that you're Christian? How do you want? He asks him permission.
Right.
What he wants to
Wants
do
to do.
as his son. He
Yeah.
gives him a choice, which is like, oh my God, huge.
When John Garfield shows up, because he's got a really great job offer in Connecticut, but of course Connecticut has all these restricted neighborhoods,
right?
And so he
can't find a place to live.
Yeah. He's there for like 3 or 4 weeks, and he can't find a place to live
in Connecticut, right?
Yeah, and
so he and Kathy have this heated conversation.
Yeah,
because he's like, "What are you doing?" And so then she leaves, like, maybe we shouldn't be together,
right?
And then it's kind of like,
I can't stand all these the tension, and
like it's his fault.
Yeah,
and that kind of bothers me too. It's like, are you
Yeah.
really not looking at yourself?
Yeah.
At the engagement party, she and Philip go for this walk, and she's had this home that she has inherited that she has designed to be a family home with her first marriage. But she says, I came here to design it for my marriage, but it was also my escape. And she says this really great, there's so many great lines in there. And she says this line, sometimes you have to pour yourself into something that can't hurt you back.
Right.
And so there you get this idea of how much she loves this home. And she goes, now I feel like this home was waiting for you and I.
Yeah.
So you see how much she has put the love into this. And so then later on, you talk about how she and Philip have this conversation, and he sees the struggle that his Jewish friend is going through to find a place to live. And he makes this suggestion to her, and it's like, oh, no, that would not be okay. And she goes, don't you understand? And this is the title of the movie. She goes, there's this gentleman's agreement.
Right.
And he goes, what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, well, we understand the boundaries. And that's when it's like, okay, I don't think this is going to work out for us because we're not on the same page. Oh, and remember the other conversation. Where are they with? Oh, it is Anne Celeste Holm and David and Catherine, and it's before they decide to not get married, and Philip, and they're talking about where they're going to go for their honeymoon.
Right.
And Anne goes, don't you realize that's restricted? And he looks at Catherine, and she goes, she kind of like, oh, well, it doesn't matter. And it's like, it does matter. And she's like, why? You're not really Jewish. Or kind of in hints at that, because at that point, Anne still doesn't know he's not Jewish.
Right.
And she's like, it's not a big deal.
Right.
And he's like, no, it's a big deal. So he decides, and this is a really awake moment for him. He decides to go to this location where they're going to have their honeymoon, and he starts to check in, and he makes it clear that he's Jewish.
Right.
And it's like, oh, yeah. At first they're like, oh, yeah, we've got this for you, and we're going to get you all set up. And then he says he's Jewish. And then the guy at the front desk is like, let me go get the manager.
Right.
And it's an interesting conversation.
Because he never says, oh, we don't take Jews here. No. It's all smoke and mirrors.
All these little smoke and mirrors. And the language that doesn't come right out and say it. And then all of a sudden he's looking, oh yeah, no, I guess we don't really have a place for you.
We don't have any rooms.
We
Yeah.
have no rooms. And he goes, well, just a oh, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the other thing that you started to bring up prior to this too, is, he's given a personal secretary. Her last name is Wales. And they have a conversation. She sits and tells him because she thinks he's Jewish, right?
Right.
And he's going to do
Yeah.
this important story. And so they have this conversation about how hard it is to find a job when you're Jewish. And he's kind of like, well, how would you know? She goes, you think my last name is Wales?
Right.
And he goes, it's not. And she goes, no. And she says her whole last name, which is obviously a Jewish name. And she goes, I applied for this job here twice. She said, the first time I had my Jewish last name.
Yeah.
She goes, and then I realized I didn't get the job because they didn't have any openings. Suddenly, no openings. The job had been taken. She goes, so I thought I'd try it again with the last name of Wales, with the exact same identical resume, qualifications. And suddenly she got the job.
Right.
And he's like,
and that's when the editor or the owner of the paper finds out that the guy that is the
I think it's
HR
the hiring manager or something
the
like
HR
that.
manager
Yeah,
has been
HR, right.
Yeah, he's been screening and
He's
not
been screening people. And he basically threatens him. He goes, if you don't start changing this,
right,
you're not going to have a job.
Yeah.
He goes,
now I want to
and he says to the guy too very clearly, do you not know who you work for?
That's right. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
who do you think I am?
Yeah. So now I want to go back though to this is near the end when finally Kathy calls David because she wants to know why she and Philip keep having these arguments.
That night at dinner, a man told a vicious little story, and I was ill. I was sick with rage and shame. But I just sat there. I felt ashamed. We all just sat there.
Yeah. Somebody told the story. Sure, a man at a dinner table told the story, and the nice people didn't laugh. They even despised him for it, sure. But they let it pass. And behind that joke, there's Flumin and Darian and Tommy and those kids.
And if you don't stop with that joke, where do you stop? Where do you call the halt? I've been getting mad at Phil because he expected me to fight this instead of getting mad at the people who help it along. Like Lockhart. Phil will fight. He can fight. He always will fight. And if I just sit by and feel sick, then I'm not a fit wife for him.
And he basically said words like, it helps you feel safe to not say anything.
Right.
And
which is like, the turning point for her.
Right. And then I like the other thing he says to her too. And he goes, you know, men are looking for not just a wife to have their children and to keep their home nice. And he says, we need healthy companionship.
Right.
We need to know that not only do we think alike, but we act in similar ways. And I thought that was just fantastic because all of a sudden you see that switch go off for her.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, it needs to be action.
Yeah. Right.
It needs to be action.
Yeah. And then he comes home and calls the guy and says, I can take the job because
he comes walking into David's apartment. I mean, David comes walking into Philip's apartment. He's like, Philip's like, what are you doing here? I thought you were leaving. He goes, hold on. And he picks up the phone and he says, I'll take the job. I have a place to stay. And Philip's like, what? And David hangs up the phone. He goes, you need to go talk to her. She decided to keep her home. And of course, there's that wonderful scene, because at this point you have figured out that his mother has health issues, her heart. Oh, that's another interesting conversation that happens too, because Kathy sends this really great doctor. He's a cardiologist, and she sends him this really great doctor. And at first he's fantastic, but then he starts to, well, I don't know if I'm always going to be on hand and blah, blah, blah. So I have a list of doctors that won't overcharge you. Yeah. And David goes, what do you mean by that? I mean, and Philip says, what do you mean by that? And he goes, them.
Well, because
And
Philip
Philip goes, what do you
suggests
mean
a
them?
Jewish doctor. He says, well, I have a list of doctors here from
Yeah. And he
Mount
goes, what do you
Sinai.
mean them?
Yeah,
And he goes, well,
yeah,
you know them. And he goes, do you mean Jewish? Well, I didn't want to say it.
yeah.
Well, what if he goes, well, I'm Jewish. And the doctor goes, oh, okay, well, and he quickly gets out of there. He can't have this
Right,
conversation, right?
right.
This is the point that is made in the film is all this quiet underlying
That's
little
right.
conversations that even little comments that people make that don't think they're a big deal.
They don't think that they're racist.
They don't think they're racist. At the engagement party, Kathy's like, says to her sister, well, where are the such and suches and where are the and they all have excuses of why they couldn't come to the party. She goes, oh, so you screened them?
Yeah.
At that point, Kathy still thinks that she's not a hypocrite like
Right.
everybody else. And her
Right.
sister goes, oh, no, don't be silly. I didn't do that.
Right.
And
played by Jane Wyatt.
Jane Wyatt. She's
That's
beautiful.
her sister, plays her sister.
Yeah, but they look like they could be sisters, don't they?
They do.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh, they did such a good job.
So the whole point of the movie is that we had to see her grow. We had to see Kathy
her
grow.
character arc is very good because even though I still feel like, I guess because I feel like I'm more like Celeste Holm's character, Anne. I love her straightforwardness. She just gets to the point. She doesn't beat around the bush. She tells you who she is.
Right.
And not to pat myself on my back, but I know that's who I am.
Right.
I as soon as you meet me, you get a clue who Celeste is. I don't have an underlying anything. And that's probably why I really relate to Anne, because I've been there. I've been in the position where people have shown their little quiet bigotry and I have called them out on it. I don't have an issue with that. I don't have an issue with calling you out on any of your crap.
Right.
And we were raised that way.
Right.
I really feel like Philip was raised in the way that we were raised.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really think that nowadays Dad would not only call us liberals, he would call us that democratic socialist kind of thing, that new progressive movement. Dad and Mom would be all in on that.
Right.
And that's really what this underlying it's so interesting, as Anne says when she finds out that he and Kathy have split up, and he's tortured by it. Yeah. Because I know he really loves her and he feels confused because he's like, did I see something in her that wasn't really there?
Right, exactly.
He's like, I don't know what to do with this, Yeah. And it really, when David comes in, makes the phone call, hey, I'll take the job. He has decided we're getting out of here. We're going back to California. Right. I cannot live here anymore. He's that hurt by the split up with he and Kathy. Yeah. And not realizing that Kathy called David. And I think that's a really great instinct on her part too.
Yes.
Because she knows she has to face something head on, but doesn't know it at the same time.
She knows she has to figure it out. And the only person who can help her is David.
Because she obviously trusts him.
Yeah. And I think she really likes him.
Well, he's likable.
Yeah.
He's an intelligent, kind man. Right. And, he doesn't put up with people being anti-Semitic to him. He doesn't put up with it.
Yeah, he almost gets in a fight when somebody...
that happens between David and Philip when, Philip tells him what happened with his son. And David's like, I know exactly, that's when things really well up in you. Yeah. When your children get hurt.
Yeah. Now you know it all is what
now you get it. When it's happening to your children.
Yeah. And he does one time when they're out in a restaurant, somebody really does a racial slur toward David and he almost gets in a fight. But the guy's friends go, oh, I'm so sorry.
Right.
And they take him away. They take him away.
And he doesn't know what he's doing. And, David's like, well, yeah, okay, whatever. But
Yeah.
once
But
again,
at least they're apologizing.
right. But there's a contrast again. You kind of
Yeah.
get that feeling. It's again that I have a friend who's anti-Semitic, but I'm not, but I'm going to stand up for him and apologize for him. Rather than, why am I friends with this man if I don't agree with him?
Well, I think he does say, "What are you doing?" He says to his friend,
Yeah, he's like,
"Like, what are you
so
doing?"
embarrassing.
And then he apologizes to David and takes the guy away.
Right.
So it's not
Right.
like he's completely complicit.
Right. Or it may have been an eye-opening experience for him as well.
Yes, but at least he said something.
Right. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, that's these layers that you get from this film.
Right.
And that's the layers that are laid out so perfectly, even though it may have been a tense set.
Right.
You know what really happens? Yes, the director sets the tone, but it gets delivered so well
Yeah.
because of the actors who deliver it.
Now, Daryl F. Zanuck had the last word
Yes, he did.
because it was a critical success. It
Huge.
was a financial success. It
Huge.
was the biggest moneymaker for Fox that year.
Yep.
It was even the second most popular movie in the South.
Yep.
It was, and they won
Which was a
5
shocker.
Oscars. Yes.
Which is a shocker in the South.
Yeah. And it was nominated for 8, I think, or 10.
Eight or,
No, wait.
almost all the categories, I think they said.
They won 5.
Right.
But it was nominated for a lot. And it was added to the National Film Registry in 2017.
Right.
In 1998, it was up on one of the AFI Best Picture lists.
Awesome.
But yeah, Elia Kazan won an Oscar.
Right.
I don't know why they didn't. I can never understand why they don't nominate Gregory Peck for Best
Oh no,
Actor.
he got nominated for Best Actor.
Oh, that's right, but he didn't win.
Did. There was a huge nomination list. And you know, the thing is, I love the part when he is talking to his mother and she's laying up, sitting up on the couch because she's still dealing with some of her health issues that they say is resolvable. The doctor has said this is resolvable. She just needs to do these certain things. And,
right.
And of course, she takes good care of herself. And Gregory, I mean, Philip is taking care of her as well.
Yeah.
But
and even Dorothy McGuire comes in and takes care of her.
Oh gosh, she loves her. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it's so great too, because you see her struggle. She really loves him, but she can't. And David, of course, helps her figure out heads or tails of why she's a hypocrite.
Right. Right.
And when she and it's a gentle scene. It's not one of those and they're fighting. It's just this gentle, slow
conversation,
beautiful conversation of her awakening.
Yes.
And I love it because she wants to wake up. She's ready. The student, when the student is ready, the teacher shows up.
Yeah.
And the
teacher
I think
and part of the reason why she wants that is because she really is in love with Philip.
She really is.
But she can't figure out why they keep having these conflicts.
Right. Right.
She doesn't realize she's
never had to face it head on. Never.
Right. Exactly.
She's lived this complacent life in Connecticut with, the gentleman agreement of these planned neighborhoods.
Well, she never lived in the house. She says she never lived in the house.
Never lived there. Right. I mean, she didn't want to because she realized she didn't create it for her husband and her that divorced, Right. So she never had to. And that's the thing I love about life. It's time for you to grow up, you do. When you're ready.
You get the confrontation.
You get the emotional maturity part of it. And I do struggle still. Like I was saying, I struggle with, I think he would have been happy with Anne too.
Yeah.
But he wasn't in love with her.
Yeah.
He was not in love with her.
Well, he might have, if it didn't work out with, he might have.
Right.
Fallen
and it
in
could
love
have
with
developed into something because, also what I like about Anne's character is I think she would have been challenging for anyone.
Oh yeah.
I think she was up for the the good trouble.
Yeah.
She was totally ready for all of that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I love the buzz when he gives his first part of the story of the article.
Because it's
And
like 5 parts or
oh
something.
yeah, he's doing it in 5 parts.
Yeah.
And everybody's a buzz when they find out, because the title of his article is, my X amount of days as a Jewish man.
Right.
And how everybody's just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And they can't, it's just this palpable buzz of excitement that
Yeah.
he obviously did it the right way
Yeah.
to bring it some important attention. And of
Yeah.
course, his boss says the same thing. I don't want you to leave because this is important what you've done here.
Yeah.
And this is exactly what everyone needs to feel and read.
Yeah.
And then when he comes home, because he's still convinced he's got to go, and he comes home and his mom has read part 1, she goes, "Don't be mad at me. I snuck into your office and I had to read this." And how she reads this part that, she says, "First of all, your father would be amazed and so proud of you."
Yeah.
And she says, "I think I've decided after reading this, I want to live a long life."
You know something, Phil? I suddenly want to live to be very old. Very. I want to be around to see what happens. The world is stirring in very strange ways. Maybe this is the century for it. Maybe that's why it's so troubled. Other centuries had their driving forces. What will ours have been when men look far back to it one day? Maybe it won't be the American century after all, or the Russian century, or the atomic century. Wouldn't it be wonderful, Phil, if it turned out to be everybody's century? When people all over the world, free people, found a way to live together. I'd like to be around to see some of that, even the beginning. I may stick around for quite a while.
And that is a really important, her hope and dream for a brighter, more unified people.
That's right.
No matter what your race is, no matter.
And it has taken such a long time, but
right,
that's the way growth happens.
Oh,
growth happens.
It doesn't happen overnight. Right.
Right. People want
it is step by step. Yep.
People want to be awakened right
well,
now.
And I really love at that one that they're at Anne's party and they meet the professor who's a Jewish man. He's
right, yeah, played by Sam Jaffe.
Oh, I love him. And he goes, "Well, what's so interesting?" One of the things he says is, "There's really no race of Jewish.
Right.
We're not a race, but they make us a race. Isn't that curious?" He brings about a really eye-opening idea of, what is race? What is religion? What is, he says, so I don't apply.
Or what's the difference between race and ethnic group?
Right. And he goes, and what's, even questioning what's religion?
Right.
What does that mean? So I don't prescribe myself to any of those things.
Right.
I am open to all of it.
Yeah.
What does all of this mean? And I thought, what a great part for him.
Yeah.
It's not very long, but it opens these doors to what this movie is going to present to you.
Yeah. Right. There's so many layers to this movie.
Oh, yes. And it's no wonder that it was so I think the studios at the time were still trying to fit in a certain line.
Right.
They wanted this safety net.
Well, one of the things that they were talking about in one of the special features was almost all of the movie moguls, heads of studios were Jewish, but they came to this country to fit in. Mm-hmm. And so they don't address these kinds of issues because
I think they're trying to blend in. Absolutely the truth.
Yeah.
And that would separate us again, right?
Right. And the other thing is that this movie opened up the door for other movies that had social commentary. Well, although Elia Kazan had done some of that already.
Oh yeah. Well, there's another movie that's one of my favorite ones, with Robert Young and Cross. What's
It's
that one
the
called?
three Roberts.
Yeah, the three Roberts. Robert Ryan.
Crossfire,
Crossfire. And
maybe.
Robert Mitchum.
And Robert
Oh,
Ryan.
all three actors are mesmerizing. We should talk about that film sometime too, because I remember
it's a film
I had
noir.
not heard of it, and I was a kid, and Dad was like, "No, everyone should see this film."
Oh yeah, because it's all about anti-Semitism.
It's all about anti-Semitism in the military.
Yeah, right.
And that's the other thing, that's what this movie and movies like this really bring about is this film was in 1947. And here we had not been too far off of going overseas to fight fascism. We're fighting it. And here we are, people have immigrated here. And I'm sure people are like, why are people against Jewish people? We just fought to save them.
Yeah.
This is
and the other thing
weird.
is that House Un-American Activities stuff was starting.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a fascist kind of.
It was a fascist movement. So, we're still not safe from it. We think we're so far removed we think we are. Yeah. But during World War II and just prior to it, the fascism movement was building. It just didn't seem like it because, first of all, social media has changed everything.
Oh, yeah.
Back then it was just newspapers. And if you didn't get the newspaper and if you didn't have radio, you were oblivious to it.
Yeah.
I remember, this is another great film. The Edward R. Murrow, Good Night and, Good Luck. That's a, oh my God.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Good. It's so good because it's bringing that, because Edward R. Murrow, everyone listened to him.
Right.
He was the voice of not only America, but of the world.
Yeah.
Because he brought America to America. He brought the world to America. He was not afraid of any storyline.
Right.
He told it all.
Right.
And his life, for most of his life, he had death threats on a regular basis because of the stories he brought to the radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he never wavered.
Yeah. And so even though Philip is a fictional character, he's someone who is just actually pointing out the reality of our country and how I've heard lots of people say this on YouTube. We have always thought that we're the land of the free, but look at all the people, brown and black and whatever, Native American, who have not been part of we the people.
Right. Well, and here, let's bring up this other interesting thing. They kept talking about being Christian in this movie, and it's okay. You don't have to be afraid. You're really Christian. Well, here, in the 60s, 20 some odd years later, Kennedy's running for office. Oh, he's Catholic. We've never had a Catholic president.
John F. Kennedy.
John F. Kennedy is running for president, and people are, I remember Mom and Dad talking about going, Dad said he would look at people and go, why are you freaking out that he's Catholic?
Really?
Which is funny because Catholicism still remains the largest Christian in the world.
Christian religion.
We have a man who's Catholic running for president, and people are beside themselves.
Are freaking out. Yeah, right.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's like, but like Dad said, Nixon was
Quaker.
No one made a big deal out of that.
No. And he wasn't really a very good Quaker.
What are we going to do?
He wasn't a good Quaker because he was corrupt.
Because Quakers were pacifists, and he was definitely not a pacifist.
No.
But, that's here we are talking about these underlying things again. Because I think what we're living today is not only bringing about the fascism, it's also bringing about what does Christian mean?
Right.
You know, what I don't even think people care about Catholicism or Christian or Baptist because it's just opening up all sorts of stuff that we got to go, ooh,
Right.
what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
And
that's what the story's about. What does that mean?
yeah.
Where do I stand on that? Do I have the courage to speak up? You
Well,
know, that
also
indifference.
looking at how we've treated each other in this country, how the whites
That's
particularly
what
have
really
treated
matters.
everybody else.
By the way, right. The bottom line is what really matters. It is matter how we treat each other.
Yeah.
It matters how we love.
Right.
Do we love with conditions or unconditionally?
Right.
You know,
Or are we so wounded that we hate everybody?
right, right. And we're afraid because
Right.
hate and fear, you know, they're friends
Right.
with each other, you know. And that's why I think this movie was timely, was appropriate, because
Yes.
we should never stop asking these questions.
Right.
Because when we ask
and
those
doing
questions, we grow.
self-examination.
Oh my gosh, when we ask questions, it helps us grow.
Right.
You know, I mean, I
Yeah.
said something to Jamie the other day about, you know, we're not broken, we're seeds getting ready to bloom.
That's right.
That's what we are. You know, I think this idea of right and wrong and there's something wrong with us and oh my God, I'm broken. We have to throw that. That's got to go away. Because
Right.
then we think we can't heal.
Right.
We think we cannot get from a place of
Right.
broken to, you know, I'm just a seed and I'm getting ready to, I'm growing and my little buds
Yeah.
are coming up, you know?
So for Kathy, the relationship that she has with Philip is the catalyst to her growth.
It is. But she knew at that party something was, she didn't feel something real and it couldn't, she thought at first, I think she thought talking to David was going to tell her she's okay because you don't feel good about it.
Right.
That's enough.
Right.
And when
And
he
it's
told her
not
it
enough.
wasn't enough, she went,
Right.
oh boy,
Yeah.
I get it now. This is
Yeah.
what Philip has been so frustrated about.
Right.
You know, because also when they marry, she's going to be an assistant of guiding the son
Right.
into adulthood.
Right.
And it just goes to show you how important that was to Philip to have that, as David put it, a companion that not only thinks alike, but acts in the same direction, in the same expansive way.
Or where they can at least work it out what they're going to do. Yeah.
Right, exactly. That's what I love. That this is the other thing I think you and I love about the films that we love too, is men aren't shallow.
Right.
These men in this film, the owner of the magazine, you know, Philip, David, even his son, have all these beautiful layers of humanity in them.
Right.
And they have more than just happy and angry.
Right. Right.
You know, there's a great deal of depth, emotional depth to them. And all of our films show that not just women have it, but men have it too.
Yeah. And that's the thing about Gregory Peck that I love is there are so many movies that he's in where his character has those layers. Right. And one that we have to talk about is The Big Country, because he's the man who really is truly masculine. All the other ones are all so
it's bravado. Toxic masculinity.
So back to this, though, I think that Philip is frustrated that he can't get Kathy to see what he's talking about or what he's trying to. But he's frustrated about that. He doesn't know how to do it, but he needed David is the one
Well,
who could do
and
it.
once again, that just goes to show you just how like family and brothers he and David are.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Yes.
because they really
Yeah.
where Philip can't come up with the language, David does.
Yeah. Because
And
David's lived it.
this is probably one of my favorite parts that John Garfield plays.
Yeah.
I love John Garfield in this. To me, this is one of my favorite parts, that he's not this rough,
Right.
pissed off guy. You
Right.
know, I feel like he deserved to have more roles like this.
Oh, yeah. Except that unfortunately, because he was blacklisted twice, he had a heart attack and died at 39.
Yeah, it was a very, very tough time for him. Right.
And oh man,
and I think we had so much more we could have seen from him.
Yeah.
I agree,
Right.
Lucinda, that they actually say that about that in his trivia, that he died because of the stress of, I mean, what a horrible judgment.
Oh,
You know, and being judged for what? For
I
the
know.
suspicion of something?
Yeah.
You know, that you
I
don't
know.
even really know, but hey, this is our way of keeping us safe. You
Right.
know, and
Right.
it's a really, at least we got John Garfield for a little while, right?
Yeah. Right.
And
Well,
we
and
have,
this is a theme from The Mystic and Anti-Mame. Some of the themes from
Anti-Mame.
those movies.
What does she do when she goes? Yeah, that's exactly what I said to Jamie. I said, this is, you know, this whole thing when he goes to Connecticut, I'm like, it's all about what's shown in Anti-Mame, you
Yeah.
know, and
Right. Yeah.
you know what these movies too also show you? That being open-hearted, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and with love without conditions is the joy.
Yes. Yes. But we are not conditioned like that. For some reason, we're not taught that. We're not taught.
No.
We're
Our
not taught to be
society is,
open-hearted and open-minded.
I think this is what we're going through right now, is we're learning community.
Yeah. Right.
And I think our society has had
Yeah.
several generations, different parts of it, that we've had to refigure it out.
Yeah.
And now this is, you know, hitting us all again. And I tell people all the time, this is teaching us community. It's teaching us what really matters.
Yeah. And that everybody matters.
Everybody matters.
Not just
And
certain
it doesn't
groups.
matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what your religion is. It's, you know, because I'm really feeling, I love how these ministers are coming out of all religions going, okay, folks, now's our time. It's hitting us. Where are we?
Right.
Who do we want to be as a nation? What does religion really mean? What does Christianity really mean?
Yeah.
Does it matter what your religion really is? Even the Pope is saying it. You know, what is all of this about? And I love that of all there's certain Baptist ministers saying, there's, you know, Presbyterian, there's all sorts of them are coming together going, the Church of England is even, you know, it's happening all over the world. It's not just happening in America, because the world is paying attention to us.
Right. Well, and they have their own issues,
Of
just
course
like
they
we
do.
do. Just like we do.
Right.
Yeah.
And the thing with this particular stream of fascism is not just on Jewish. It's not just on Black people. It's hitting the LGBT. It's a bigger, like, you know, the fascism in Germany was straight to the Jewish people,
Right.
and gays. Let's not forget that too. But now,
well, and also the Romani people,
the Romanis, right? You know, but it's grown. You know, they made it a bigger thing now, and it had to be that way. It was growing into being this.
Yeah. And
which, as many people that I listen to say, but the time has come for us to be done with this.
Yeah.
When it comes to a head like this, it's because it is the unifying thing that brings us together.
Right.
You know, that is the role of what's happening with these people that are just showing us what it looks like.
Yeah, and so what I want to say to people who think that classic movies are just, or movies in general, TV in
Right,
general, is just
right.
for entertainment and for stress relief. And no, you can learn so
Yes,
much
you can.
depending on what you're
And
watching.
and it can be entertaining all at once.
Yes, it can be entertaining and you can also go and look at movies that are the characters are going through similar things that you've gone through and learn something from them.
Absolutely.
Learn something from those characters in
Absolutely.
those movies that might help you in your personal growth as well.
So, I mean,
So,
I hope that's what everyone wants to do. And I hope that's why people are listening to us, not just to talk about classic films as being classic films, but classic films that are still relevant.
yes. And
Because,
this one is.
I think reflection is important, but it also the reflection hopefully will move us forward.
Yeah. There are snapshots of where we were
Right.
and maybe where we still are.
Right.
Wow. Okay. I think that's a great place for us to end this one. And the next one, we are still with Gregory Peck, and it is probably one of the most beloved films of all time and books.
And
It
books.
was the number
And a
one
banned
book.
book.
Yeah, and a banned book, To Kill a Mockingbird. And To Kill a Mockingbird, the book was when PBS had the Great American Readout, it was the number one pick.
Number one.
Number one pick in our country of all the people who were participating in that. And so it's still relevant because
Yep.
it's about a Southern lawyer and he's defending a black man. And so if you haven't seen that movie, my dad would say you have to go see that movie because it is really it's a really good movie and you'll get a lot out of it.
Right.
So if you want to watch it before we do our thing, and then you can make comments in our comments section, that would be great. Also, don't forget to subscribe. It's free. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Please make comments and also go join our Facebook group.
Yeah. Please join us because this helps us to see your comments. It helps us continue our conversation as well.
Yeah. And also sometimes it gives us new ideas for movies.
It does give us new ideas. We love to see the movies you love too.
Yes. Yes. Barry and I watched a lot, and I only put one of them, and that was The American President, which we have to talk about at some point too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh yeah, such a great movie. We'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.